In this week's episode of Talking About Orks, we're going over Tankbustas. And Tankbusters, just like in the Index, is probably one of the best units the Orks have, just for sheer amount of killing against vehicles anyway. So, Tankbusters are essentially just Ork boys that carry a rocket, a Tankbuster bomb, and stick bombs. For every 5 Tankbusters and or boss nominee, you may be accompanied by up to 2 bomb squigs. So that's 2 per 5. So that's pretty good. And you go up to 15. So you go up to 15 guys and 6 bomb squigs if you really wanted to. And each Tankbuster and boss nob is armed with a rocket launcher, stick bombs, and Tankbuster bombs. So the nice thing about the bomb squigs is they hit on a 2+. They have weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2. That's pretty good, and of course they do count for models, so you can save a couple of points if they are in a transport and get destroyed, and everyone can go to a bomb squig instead of a Tankbuster. Save a rocket. So for every Tankbuster and a boss nominee, one Tankbuster. Let's see, for every 5, one Tankbuster may replace the rocket launcher with a tank hammer. For every 5 Tankbusters and their boss knobs in the unit, one Tankbuster may replace their rocket launcher with a pair of rocket pistols. Okay, so let's talk about the options here. So the pair of rocket pistols are pistol 2, so there's 2 of them obviously. And it's strength 7, so you lose a strength, and it does D3 damage instead of the straight 3 damage of a normal rocket launcher. The advantage, of course, you can use them in close combat, and they are range 12 inches. I probably wouldn't bother. I think they're the same points. Let's see. Yeah, pair of rocket pistols, the same point. So either way, rocket pistols or rocket launchers, same price. I probably wouldn't go the rocket pistols because, to be honest, you just don't want these guys in close combat anyway. Back in the day when you could use, every model could throw its melta bomb in close combat, you'd want to do that. But nowadays, no, you don't want to do that. So I don't really see any use for the rocket pistols. Same goes with the tank hammer. The tank hammer has gone down a little bit. It's only 10 points, and you can make a single attack with this weapon. If the attack hits, the target suffers D3 mortal wounds and the barrel is slain. Nice thing, if you do miss with the attack, you get to try again until you do hit and do the mortal wounds. But again, and it is cheaper. It's 2 points less than a rocket launcher. But again, it replaces the rocket launcher, so you lose a shot, and it only works in close combat. I don't see any reason to take tank hammers either, because again, you don't want these guys in close combat. And of course, grenades and Tankbuster bombs are melta bombs, strength 8, -2, D6 damage. And the points on these guys didn't go up. They're still 17 points model, 5 base, plus 12 for the rocket launcher. Of course, they gain Daka, which is incredible. And tank hunters, you can reroll hit rolls for attacks made by this unit that targets vehicle units. And the death of bomb squig is ignored for the purposes of morale tests. What can you do with tank? Well, Tankbusters are obviously just astronomically deadly against vehicles. With those reroll to hits and Daka, that's just amazing. And flat 3 damage each for a rocket hit is a lot. I mean, it stacks fast. Even if you get 2 or 3 hits, I mean, that's a dead dreadnought. That's most vehicles taken down a tier. These guys are just fantastic. Added in stratagems and clan traits and cultures, it's even crazier. You could give them bad moves if you really wanted to. That way you can reroll 1s against every target. So if you're shooting at something that isn't a vehicle, you get to reroll 1s. But the obvious one, of course, is going to be Evil Sons, and that way they can advance and shoot without penalty. Especially if you're going to be in a transport, because they are Ork boys. I mean, they're just as resilient as any Ork boy, which just say is they aren't. But you put them in a transport, you can advance the transport and shoot without penalty. And if you're going with Evil Sons, that gives you a lot of range. So if you go with a truck that's a base 12 move, Evil Sons give it +1, and advance, so that's a minimum of 2. So that's a minimum of 38-inch range on these guys if you put them in a truck. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. That is a tremendous amount of threat from Tankbustas. The downside, of course, is they're in a truck, you don't get to use stratagems on them. So the one advantage of having bad moons, in addition to being able to reroll ones against other targets, is that you can use showing off with them, so they get to fire twice. So that is a big advantage to having bad moons, despite the reroll ones isn't going to come into play all the time. Of course, the other obvious use stratagem you want to use on these guys is the grenades. Being able to throw 10 grenades at these guys, getting within, jumping out of a transport within 3 inches of these something, and throwing 10 melta-bombs. The grenade D3 each, so that's D3 shots per model with DACA. So every 6 counts as another melta-bomb hit. And rerolling to hits, and their strength 8 minus 2 D6 damage a shot. That is, I mean, it's mind-boggling how much damage you can do to a vehicle with the grenade stratagem. And so 1 command point for grenades for that stratagem. I mean, you do have to get within 6 inches of something, but I don't think that's really going to matter. Whatever you get within 6 inches of is just going to die. there's not much that can withstand that kind of firepower. Of course, you have to get there, but that's another story. And even Death Skulls. Death Skulls, again, is another good culture for these guys, especially if you run like just minimum units of 5. That 1 reroll to hit and to wound. So if you're shooting at something that's not a vehicle, that 1 reroll to hit is really nice. And the reroll to wound is even better. And if you're doing grenades, you can reroll 1 of your grenade damages. So, and of course they also gain that 6-up invul save, which is pretty useful actually, to give them a lot more resiliency than they had before. So, Bad Moons, Evil Suns, Death Skulls are the 3 plans you're probably going to make Tankbusters. Not so much Goths. Goths don't really do much for them. Actually, Goths don't do anything for them. Actually, if you roll a 6 to hit with a tank hammer, do you get 2 D3 mortal wounds? Probably. Nah, it's still not worth it. Yeah, so that's it. Tankbusters are just absolutely amazing, and they are a major threat whenever they're on the table. I think Evil Suns is clearly the best because you can keep them safe in a transport for at least a little while, or safer being in a transport, especially since the trucks aren't that much anymore, not that many points. So I think spending an extra few points per model to give them a little better save, a little bit better survivability is worth it. But again, if they're outside of the transport, Bad Moons, rerolling 1s against non-vehicle targets is huge. Say you're playing against Custodies with those 3 wound jet bikes. Tankbusters are amazing against those guys. And again, with the Bad Moons, you get to use showing off. So that's definitely something to consider with Tankbusters, being able to shoot twice in a turn. Especially with the grenade stratagem, you get within 6 inches of 2 knights. Oh, that's 3 command points for 2 dead knights. But yeah, that's it. I mean, Tankbusters are going to be a mainstay of pretty much every Ork list, competitive or otherwise, especially with Ludas in and out, of course, with their with the vulnerability to Vect and the new Gene Stealer cult stratagem. And of course, I mean, there's a lot of people that play with Dark Eldar just for that Vect ability. So, I mean, in a competitive environment, you're going to see that a lot. So, it does matter for the Ludastar. But when it comes to the Tankbusters, they're not quite as vulnerable to stratagem hate as the Ludas are. And they can just deal damage like mad. 3 damage a pop is huge. So, any other ways you can think of to play Tankbusters? I think the obvious way is Evil Sun's Tankbusters in a truck. Just fantastic. But I'm sure that's not the only way to play them. Because you got, I said, Bad Moons. Keep them in a deep striking warcopter, and then shoot first turn, maybe unload, and then next turn you can show them off on them if they survive. Something like that. So let me know what you think about in the comments below how if there's any other ways to play Tankbusters effectively. And thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching this episode of Talking About Orcs. Please subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications for new Talking About Orcs videos every Wednesday, new battle reports every Friday, and hobby videos whenever I can. Thanks for watching.